It's so good to see you again.
I wish I could make my deliveries more often, but the road's getting dangerous.
Traveler, are you by chance in need of a companion? Well, the dog's neither, or else I wouldn't be trying to get rid of it. At least, not without some compensation. That's not a smart move, considering the dog's pedigree. It's no doubt the latest in a grand line of imbeciles with more urine than sense. But don't let me dissuade you. I'm sure you'll have considerable success teaching it to fetch your slippers in the morning. Of course, good luck teaching it not to soil them first. I didn't find the cretin. I never wanted him to follow me. It was just bad luck. Well, it all has to do with the price of troll fat. It's been dropping like flies ever since the book Finn's Guide to Troll Slaying got published. Since I already own a considerable stash, it's in my best interest to kill as many trolls as I can and make the items scarce. I usually track their footprints and follow them to their lairs. They typically aren't very happy to see me. Except this one time they were too busy cornering this mangy dog, and the army of fleas in its garrison. That's right. Funny thing is, if I hadn't killed the trolls, this dog would probably have annoyed them to death. Which is precisely what it's doing to me now. In fact, I think the mongrel is trying to kill me by having me commit suicide. It was a coincidence, an unfortunate side effect. At no point did I attempt to do it any favors. In fact, if I had to do it all over again, I might have spared the trolls and used all my remaining magicka on the dog. Like the dog? I don't like fleas, I don't like unpleasant smells, having my face licked, or loud barking in the middle of the night. I haven't the faintest idea why you'd think I'd enjoy the company of this dirty, flea-ridden cacophony of fur. My ancestors came from Vivek City. When the Red Mountains found its voice, nearly all of Vardenfell fled west to Skyrim. My mother migrated here with the Serethi clan, and worked at the farm that bears their name. Well, she was a free spirit, so while she came to help out, she didn't stay long. She'd leave on these crazy adventures, and that's where she met my father. I never even knew his name. But it doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, the only name he'll ever have is that of a vile dog. How should I know? It doesn't respond to imbecile, and I can't think of a more appropriate name. So for now, I've resorted to calling it Dog. You sound like a Dury. She suggested we named it Barkrenzia or something childish like that. At least Avruza offered a male name. She suggested we name the fowl mutt Sindarion. She must have really hated the alchemist if she leaves his legacy in the mouth of this slobbering beast. Yes, it fails to grasp that I want to murder it. Funny, because that's all I ever think about. Oh, I guess it's true what they say. Tamriel would be a much better place if we could all be the kind of people the dogs think we are. The dog does serve as excellent troll bait. Or any bait for that matter. I can't begin to fathom how many enemies this beast has made in its travels throughout Skyrim. Well, outside of that, the only quality that sets it apart is the impossible amount of urine it holds in its bladder. Frankly, the dog is a prodigy in this regard, and I can see how it might be useful if you directed it at the right people. The problem is, he refuses to urinate on anyone but his master. And that's a title I would give my left ear and 3 of my toes to remove. Is that what your spouse tells you? You may want to reevaluate your relationship. I don't know. But my mother's silence told me more than I need to know. All I'll say is this. There's a special place in the afterlife for those who abandon their wives and children. She was a capricious woman with a passion for life. Even in her later years, she tells stories about art, adventure, and love. She told me Avruza used to be the same. But tragedy and war toughened her resolve. Most people who've lived hard lives, they're always worried about the future. But my mother always lived for the present. What's tomorrow but future's past? And what's yesterday but ancient history? Indeed. She was from another time. Her love had no limit, and her heart belonged to all. But children of war and famine, our hearts belong to no one. For now. To be honest, I wasn't sure if Avruza was willing to accept me into her home. She's a hard woman and a good farmer, and probably never forgave my mother. Seeing me was like opening an old wound. It was Adori. She welcomed me like a sister. Of course, Avruza came around as well once I offered to pay rent. Now it's Adori who resents me. How should I know? It doesn't respond to imbecile, and I can't think of a more... So for now, I've resorted to calling it... dog. The loyalty of mortals is indeed a rare and treasured thing. The loyalty of a dog can be bought with a small piece of bread, or a significantly fragrant behind.
Another batch of
Very
lives
well.
completely ruined.
And what of you, traveler?
Bears have it out
Where
for
do
me.
you hail from?
I hardly think the bears are clever enough to hold a grudge against you, Miss Teller.
When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Otherwise, mind your business.
That's a shame. To wander off without a place to return to is a lonely existence. My mother was proof of that. She had a strong love of life and all it had to offer. But at times, it felt like that love was unrequited. She would always be an outsider. Wherever she went, it would never be home. That's why I go back to Serethi Farm every night. I don't want to share her fate. All right then.
Everything all right? Watch the skies, traveler.